Bye, 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 bye. I'm doing this tonight. Probably gonna start a fight. No, this can't be right. Hey, baby, come on.
All right. And on that note, this is the Movies and Attractive Men podcast.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Chad. That's Ben Esposito.
We're very
And this is
attractive
it.
men.
We're very attractive men. And we know movies 100 before 10. And
100
this is
before
one
10.
we've been looking forward to doing this one since since we like opened this podcast up.
Even before the
Deadpool.
podcast.
That's very true. Deadpool when we were testing.
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool and Wolverine has hit theaters. I was actually biking across Iowa when this movie first came out. I had an agreement to see it with some friends, and I biked past a couple theaters and was sorely tempted to be a terrible friend and just go in and watch it without them, and then act on it the day. But I didn't. I saw it the day of with them, and wow. Um, can't say we don't have a lot to talk about here, Ben.
Yeah.
We got a lot of things to cover.
I think it's safe to say this movie is a good step in the right direction for Marvel.
Yeah. Actually, we should talk about that first. There's a lot of talk online. It's like, is this the movie that saves Marvel? Is Marvel being
Is this
saved?
Marvel Jesus?
Deadpool, exactly. No. And look, it's not fair to ask this one movie to fix all of what's going on with Marvel right now. Marvel didn't break itself with one movie. It took a lot of some pretty bad decisions, some bad structuring, some bad marketing. And in fact, this movie, as Ben just alluded to, knows how that people are asking that and they know how stupid that is. And they were making fun of the audience for expecting that. Deadpool is calling himself Marvel Jesus this entire time, being like, I'm going to
Yes.
fix the whole MCU. It's like, what the fuck? Clearly, a good movie, a good step in the right direction. And it's cool that the Fox X-Men exist in the same universe as the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. I mean, you can do some more with that, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
it'll tie into Brave New World, and maybe it won't. But damn, there's a lot in
Yeah.
this movie. There's a lot going
Hey,
on.
quick side note. The end credit scene to the Marvels, Monica Rambeau, where she ended up is the exact same universe as Deadpool and Wolverine. I found that out.
Nice.
So
I'm not
yeah,
gonna lie. When I first saw that end credit scene, I was like, yeah, whatever.
yeah,
I'm just saying, okay, because at the time, I feel a little bit differently now post this movie, but at the time, I was like, listen, you can show me this if you want to, but I don't even know when I'm going to see like Shang-Chi ever again. I don't know if I'm going to see
yeah.
Harry Styles or Moon Knight ever. God forbid, whenever the fuck we're going to get to
Why?
this.
Why is Harry
So,
Styles like? Where has he
yeah.
been?
Yeah. So, like, you can put the X-Men on screen if you want to, but it's like, yeah, that's not going to come out until 2035. But apparently not. Apparently, we're fixing stuff. I'm happy that Marvel has decided to put out one project this year. I
Yes.
think they figured out they were trying to do too much, and they're just going to slow it on down. And now we've got Deadpool
Mm-hmm.
and Wolverine. It was
Yep.
and it was pretty. So it starts with
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool comes out and he's like, "Okay, so you've read the title. How are we going to do this without totally ruining Logan? Oh, we're not going to. We're just gonna. I'm gonna
Yeah.
dig up Logan's corpse, and we're gonna have a big action sequence to kick this thing off. Uh, with Bye 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 from NSYNC playing in the background.
Great. The greatest intro in Deadpool
It's
for
really
the
good.
Deadpool trilogy. Like it's the best one. I'm sorry, it's just the best one.
Yeah, the thing
Like
is,
I was
all
in the
three Deadpool
theaters,
movies
like,
have
oh my
really good
god, this is
intros.
not happening. I was laughing so hard. The action was perfect. It was just,
You know what's awesome?
uh,
Inspired by that scene, me and well, I don't want to say his name, but we'll say Mister 100 before 10. Uh,
Mister 100 before 10.
Me and him, not as attractive and doesn't know movies, but
He
me and
definitely
him
doesn't know movies.
are going to be Deadpool and Wolverine for Halloween now, and we're going to learn like the Bye 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 dance just because of that insane opening scene.
Oh
I will
yeah.
say I did miss a little bit of the. It's a great scene. I kind of missed the intro credits. They were just straight up intro credits this time, and which is fine.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of weird. I
Yeah.
get it, but like you've seen Deadpool, you've seen Deadpool 2, where
Hmm.
the intro credits are all like, this
They're
movie
all
was
making
produced by
fun of. Yeah.
asshats.
Yeah.
They were written by seriously the real heroes here.
Yeah.
And this it was just like Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman. But I like that the movie understands that it's kind of violating Logan and a great story so much that it leaned so far into it. Like, yeah, we're literally digging up his corpse. And he's breaking his adamantium bones apart and just killing a bunch of TVA people.
Hmm.
Insane. Totally insane. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Cannot
Oh
believe it
yeah.
went.
But
So
it's
then,
just for yeah, for me the second, I think they realized the second, and like there's no bad Deadpool movie that like it just isn't, you know.
oh,
But the second
uh,
intro is just it was like okay, this is just like the first one, you know. And I
yeah,
think their third one, they're like, we got to do something new, you know, because this is 5 years
yeah,
later. And then
exactly,
it
yeah,
was like, I don't know why you chose Bye Bye Bye, but there would not have been a more perfect one. It was just too funny. I was laughing and I was in awe at the action, and it was just like I was laughing. There was no words being said. It
yeah.
was just funny, you know.
That was the other thing is like
Uh,
you were wondering like, well, it's a Disney's first R-rated movie, right? It's like, well, how R-rated are we really going to go? Oh, he's slinging his spine with his skull at the end of it to knock someone. Okay, I guess we're really going for it here.
yeah, yeah.
I read something online that apparently there's more f-bombs in this movie than in either of the first two Deadpool movies,
It's
which I can
probably because of
totally
Hugh
believe.
Jackman.
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman helped, yeah.
yeah, it's true. He was not. Yeah, he was contributing. He was great, by the way. And I like he's actually a really good choice, even outside of him being like a great Wolverine, and he's the only Wolverine we got. But he's very, very good.
Yeah,
Outside of like, we're just happy to see him because it's him. Ryan Reynolds is great, and he does have very real acting chops. Like he's not just the guy who plays himself. He gets typecast as that. But if you've seen Buried, you know, or you've seen some of his other stuff, you know that he can act. But in
yeah.
a movie like Deadpool, where any emotional moment is gonna get interrupted immediately by a Deadpool joke, you can't fully invest in him. But Hugh Jackman, on the other hand, has just crazy range and can pull off like the obnoxious drunk Wolverine, but can also sit by the fire and really bring a lot of real feeling to those scenes. And I think that helped the movie out a lot to be able to stop and slow down like that.
Yeah, I gotta say my favorite joke in the entire movie. Second favorite was Scoutmaster Kevin. The throwback
I've got
was
something
great. That was
huge
my
to
second
show you.
favorite. Scoutmaster Kevin, and the entire theater went yes, yeah, because that joke was so funny in the second Deadpool. My favorite one was I could break the fourth wall too. The proposal.
You motherfucker! You think that's what I do?
Favorite joke. Not even close. That was
My
number one.
okay, so this is
That's
personal to me.
The first Ryan Reynolds movie that I ever saw was The Proposal. So it was like that was just my favorite joke.
Yeah, my personal. This is personal to me. My personal favorite joke, and my entire friend group enjoyed this while we were watching it. Was when they walked up and was like, "We're getting a car." Devil's like, "This isn't a car. This is a fucking Honda Odyssey. It's a piece of shit." I was like, "Hey, I drive a Honda
Yeah.
Odyssey." He's shitting on the whole
Oh
time, and
yeah.
then later they have their big fight scene in it, and Deadpool goes, "I changed my mind. The Honda Odyssey totally fucks." I'm like, "You needle dick." My car is awesome.
Yeah. I think this movie in particular too is like plays to the fact even more the Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, and that's what makes it great. Like there
Yep.
was a couple of times where he called Wolverine Hugh. I thought was hilarious. He's like, "Calm
He
down,
smashed,
Hugh."
he smashed Wolverine's head into the speaker, and it played The Greatest Showman.
I saw that too. That was tell me that you want to know. And, oh, it was a half-second joke, but it worked. There were so many jokes in this movie. I need to see it again. I need to see it
Yeah,
so many times. I'm
this
going to
movie
compare
has
it to yeah.
this movie
I'm
has
going to compare it to
crazy
a
entertainment
movie.
value.
I'm going to compare it to a movie that I thought was, at least for entertainment sake, I thought was just as good could arguably be even better. But even if you don't think it's better, you can admit that it deserves to be in this tier of the movie. I thought it was very similar to the style and No Way Home. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Because of the cameos, the callbacks, and like as a movie, the plot wasn't that complex and great. But I think with the Johnny Storm cameo that we got, which was amazing.
Electric cameo. We got
Oh
Blade.
yeah.
We got
Oh yeah.
Laura. We got a ton.
Mm-hmm.
We got all kinds of. If we're gonna,
Also, an underrated joke, real quick. An underrated joke was Wesley Snipes' Blade says, "I don't like you." Ryan Reynolds says, "You never did," and it was underrated because they did a movie in the past,
Blade Trinity.
and reports came out that they absolutely hated each other.
Yeah.
And so that's such an underrated joke because he was like, I don't like you. He's just like, you never did.
Yeah, there's so many things. The thing is, what's awesome about this movie is the more you know about comic book movies and the more comic book movies you've seen and the more like news stories and behind the scenes you know about, there's a joke in this movie that the more you'll get out of this because they really just threw absolutely everything into this. It is it is full it is just full to bursting of jokes like that. I gotta say, for fourth wall breaking, probably my favorite fourth wall joke in the entire Deadpool series is in here when Deadpool just grabs the camera and goes, "Fuck you, Fox, I'm going to Disneyland." And
yeah.
He also if we are going to compare it to No Way Home, I think that No Way Home is a far stronger movie, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think the story
That's
here
what
is very thin. There's not much of a story here, and there's not meant to be. That's not really the point of this movie. And I think No Way Home, by and large, has a very an incredibly strong story. Like one of these
you
strongest.
hate No Way Home. You hate it. I don't understand.
Have we told this story before about Chad and No Way Home?
Well, wait, but before we tell the story, which we will, I don't think we have.
Okay. All right.
It's there's a reason why I said enjoyment and entertainment factor than pure movie, because I do agree with you that the movie No Way Home's a better movie. But another thing that I want people to think about and understand why this was so good of a movie and so much of a better movie than it should have been, Deadpool Wolverine, because this entire movie was written during the writer's strike.
Yeah.
So
like Ryan Reynolds is a co-writer on this movie. Yeah.
This movie should not have been as good as it was. You know, No Way Home had actual writers. Like, there was no writer's strike where there was a shortage of writers. There was not as many writers in this movie. There was less writers, significantly less writers than Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. And this movie was, I'll go ahead and spoil my ranking, but I thought that this movie was better than Deadpool 2, personally. I just liked it better than Deadpool 2, you know? And it did not deserve to be this good of a movie, but it was, just because Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, everybody was just so good at this movie. But you could tell the writing is a step down from the first two Deadpools and a lot of other movies because of the writer's strike. And I think people need to really understand that. You know, it's not meant to be an Endgame, a top movie, you know, because, or, you know, and they knew that during the writer's strike. They're like, look, we don't have the writers for this. We're just going to have a bunch of feel-good cameos, good action, and funny jokes. And that's going to be good enough. I don't think they would think it's going to be this good. Like, 600 million in the first weekend is nuts.
Oh my, seriously. Blew the previous. It's good. I would see it's a pretty good bet to pass Joker.
It's the number one. I think it's the largest opening weekend of any R-rated movie in history.
Yeah, and it beat Deadpool 2 by which was the previous one, and the one before that was Deadpool 1. And it beat those movies by it beat that movie by 50%. Like, it didn't just beat it, it smashed it into oblivion. And I think Joker being the highest R-rated movie, grossing R-rated movie of all time, I think it's a pretty safe bet that this one's going to pass it.
Mm-hmm. But
I know Oppenheimer
as
didn't.
good as No Way Home was, I enjoyed Deadpool Wolverine more than I enjoyed No Way Home, and I love No Way Home more than
Me too.
Chad. But yeah, no, this movie just feel good entertainment value and enjoyment. I liked it better than No Way Home, but I won't say that it's a better movie because it's not. You know.
Yeah, if we can, yeah, I can talk about the No Way Home thing for a second. So, basically, I saw No Way Home with Mr. 10410, um, and he noted that I was not happy with a couple of the plot points. But we got to the end, we loved it. You get to that ending where it's just like, wow, like it's so satisfying. It's a really special moment. And then I did what we now do here, which is I jumped on social media and I gave a ranking of all the Spider-Man and Venom movies.
Mm-hmm.
At which point I said that No Way Home is not the best Spider-Man movie of all time. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm not saying that it's not good. When I say not the best Spider-Man movie of all time, I literally mean that of all the Spider-Man movies, I will not put it at number one. I think
I
I
don't
put it
think
at
you
like
even put it at top three,
I think I put it number four or something. But
which is number one. I
Ben
wasn't
was
even mad about. It was the
so
original Spider-Man. He liked better than No Way Home, which is
so
blasphemy.
so Ben was outraged by my opinion, and we got in the
Not by
car one
number
time. And he
one.
just started.
Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, I understand. Spider-Man 2 is phenomenal. But Spider-Man 1? Better than
And
No Way Home?
Ben starts screaming at me, and I like start yelling back. And eventually, it just evolved to Ben going like, "You're J. Jonah Jameson. You hate No Way Home. You just hate No Way Home. I hate you." And
He
so this
hates
has
it.
been a joke ever
Yeah.
since that Chad hates No Way. And I'll explain my issue. You know what? What else is this podcast for? So I'll explain what my
Yeah.
issue is with that movie. So, and we can talk about the rest of it another time because it is great and it deserves its own podcast.
We're going to
And we'll
eventually
get
do a Spider-Man ranking and talk
yeah.
about everything.
There will be another
but,
Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop
Yeah.
doing this, so we'll have an opportunity. But so my issue is that of all the great stuff that happens in the second half, what sets it up is Spider-Man, Peter Parker, going to Doctor Strange and saying, "Hey, I need you to make everyone forget that I'm Spider-Man." And Doctor Strange says, "Okay." And then they go do it without really thinking about it until the spell starts. And Doctor Strange is like, "Yeah, I'll erase you from my." Like these are, by the way, huge implications of what they're actually doing. And then Peter just like keeps talking. He's like, "Oh, we need to fix this. Oh, we need to fix this. Oh, while the spell's going on." And then a bunch of really good stuff happens out of that. But as a setup for why that story happens, it feels weak. Like it feels like a Rick and Morty episode. Like if you've all seen the episode of Rick and Morty where Rick has a guy around who helps them, and all you have to do is just like, hey, don't develop. He's going to ask you to develop an app. Don't develop an app with him. He just gives you pancakes. Do you want to develop an app? No, I'm good. Rick leaves, and Jerry goes up there and goes, yeah, fuck you, Rick. Hey, let's develop an app. And then the whole episode happens because you weren't supposed to do that. That's kind of how it feels to me. I love everything, and everyone else does too. And if they don't, I'll fight them because they hate No Way Home, and we hate those people. But it
We hate
just feels a
Chad.
little off, especially when you compare it to a movie I love that Ben hates, the first Spider-Man, where the incitement to that is Peter Parker hears, with great power comes great responsibility. And
It's the wrong thing. They said it differently in the comics. They said it
yeah, I
wrong.
know, I don't care. The point, and
You
then
don't care because you hate No Way Home.
and Peter Parker like kind of acts against that, just lets the guy walk by him into the elevator, says, yeah, I missed the part where that's my problem. And the result of that is the death of Uncle Ben,
Iconic.
which inspires him to become Spider-Man, which is a great origin, which is a great intro. I don't need it to be that great, but I need it to be better than, Peter Parker, it just doesn't shut up about a spell that he probably shouldn't have been doing and didn't think all the way through. And the guy who was doing the spell and understood it didn't think all the way through it. That's my whole issue with No Way Home, but it's great. Back to
All right,
Deadpool.
back to Deadpool. Sneak peek.
Don't
We're doing Spider-Man in the future. Back to Deadpool.
don't let Ben respond to that because he's wrong and he hates Deadpool. We
What?
hates Deadpool 2, has Deadpool 3 above. I like even though this movie we agree is kind of weak on a writing level, I thought on a thematic level it actually worked really well. Where you have, and I think Deadpool, if you're gonna have a movie that has a million cameos and stuff, I think Deadpool's a great movie to do it in. A movie
it
that is so
it
like,
it needed to be chaos, you know,
yeah,
and for it to work, but it was controlled chaos, and that's why I think it worked. In any other character, if you put Captain America in this type of movie, this is gonna suck, you know.
yeah, like
But yeah.
it's really, the movie's actually very intelligent and very smart in how it tackles some of these ideas where you have characters in different universes who the TVA decides you're doing this wrong, you're not part of the main timeline, we're pruning you, sending you somewhere else, and you're never coming back. That is a great kind of parallel to, listen, these Blade movies aren't working, we're not doing Blade anymore, and you'll never see Wesley Snipes' Blade again.
Hmm.
Electra movie was bad, no more Electra movies.
Yeah.
Channing Tatum, you're not getting your Gambit movie. Like they just get like, and it's a literal metaphor in the movie that they're just done. I
Like
thought,
the first Fantastic Four movies were I I liked the first one. I didn't like the second one, and this is me like really like giving credit where credit is not due for the first Fantastic Four movie, because both of those really are terrible movies. It's just nostalgic for me because it was the first one that I've seen.
yep,
It's the only good one. It's the best one, and that sucks because it's been three Fantastic Four movies, and the best one sucked. You know, that's just what it is. The
yeah,
2015, I'm not even going to mention. Like, oh my
there's
god!
something
But
fantastic.
oh my
We
god!
saw,
But
we've seen a couple bad. This is actually a good segue because I've seen Fantastic Four 2, Rise of Silver Surfer a bunch as a kid, and so it would probably hold up pretty good for me. Um, which is kind of a sneak peek to next week. We're gonna rank all the X-Men movies with Deadpool and Wolverine
mhm.
in there. And little foreshadowing, my ranking is a little bit hot lava because of what I saw when I was a kid and what appeals to me now and what I haven't seen in a while and what just like messes with my brain to the point where, fair warning, again, some of my ranking and placements of certain movies are going to make Ben very angry. And
Hey,
on some level, I'm not going to be able to argue with him because I just have to acknowledge, yeah, it's a bad movie, but I would rather watch this than this.
and that's fair. That's fair. But I'll tell you, it just like Fantastic Four being such like bringing back characters like Elektra from the original Daredevil in 2003 with Ben Affleck. And
Yeah,
what's funny is one of the jokes, I don't know if you caught it, one of the jokes was like, Daredevil, where's Daredevil? Oh, he's dead. Oh, well. And that's like a huge joke of like, oh, the movie sucked. We don't really care if Ben Affleck Daredevil's dead because he was
yeah,
like, that movie was terrible. And then Jennifer Gardner being Elektra in that movie, like, all right, she was bad too, but it was cool to see her as a cameo. Same thing
yeah,
with Wesley Snipes, who, because Wesley Snipes was in this movie, longest acting uh, character in history,
yeah,
movie character.
yeah. Take
It
that,
was Hugh
Hugh.
Jackman Wolverine, and he
Yep.
could pass it if he acts till he's 90.
If he sticks around, yeah.
Till he's 90.
You yeah. There's a few more honestly, some of the jokes I'm shocked. Like I Deadpool was always edgy, but some of them like I can't believe you can make jokes about this. Like
Yeah.
when Blade says I'm the only Blade there's been or ever will be and Deadpool just looks right into the camera. I'm like they're still trying to make Blade right now and they're doing a bad
Yeah.
job and they're making fun of themselves about it. Like are you serious? This is
Well,
okay.
I think they're making fun of like in his like he's never met another Blade, you know, and then Deadpool's like breaking the fourth wall, like I know there's gonna be another Blade, you know.
Yeah.
I
Maybe.
think that's what the joke was meant to be, but
Maybe.
yeah, and the
Also,
Channing
it's cool
Tatum
that
had
yeah.
me. Oh my god, Channing Tatum was shut up. Channing Tatum was All right, hold on real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk for a little bit. I enjoyed Channing Tatum as Gambit. I know there was a whole thing of him never getting a movie as Gambit. and I thought he played really good. I thought the jokes about his really bad accent were excellent. And Ryan and Deadpool being like, "What? Who is your dialect coach? What would he think of
What
what
the
you're doing
fuck are
right
you
now?"
saying right now? The dialect coach joke was hilarious. I was like, you did not just say that in your own movie.
He did not just. Okay, I don't think
And
anyone got that exposition.
It's just like, well, it's 5 minutes, Vin. What are you saying? Oh my god. No, but the cameos were great. I love that they
This is the movie.
played. Yeah, and then the Chris Evans, the Chris Evans. Oh my god, they played the Captain
Yeah,
America theme. He
they
called him,
did.
"Oh Cap, welcome back, Cap," and I was like, "Is this really happening?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, for a second I was like,
Th-
"This is
yeah.
bad. Like, this is not." Yeah,
Well, I knew that there was a. I had a feeling he was Johnny Storm, but I was really hoping that he was because Chris Evans himself said the only way that he comes back is for Johnny Storm. He would never come back as Captain America.
yeah.
And
Don Jr. will
there,
come back as Doctor Doom.
and then he said another episode. I don't want to
We
talk
can
about
talk. We
that.
can talk about that if you want to. Not right now.
I
We just
really
got to finish
don't.
up Deadpool.
Yeah,
But yeah,
we'll talk
I don't.
about it
I
eventually,
don't
but
want
not
to
right
talk
now.
about it. Fuck me.
I need to have time. But
You need to have some drinks, is what you need.
yeah, yeah. I saw I saw that him say he only come back as Johnny Storm, but that he called him Cap, which was perfect setup. They played the Captain America music in the background, and he was like, "I got this Captain America music," and then Deadpool's like, "Oh yeah, it's about to go down. Flame on!" They're just like, "What the fuck?" Oh my god. Yeah, it was
That led
perfect.
into
It was
like
perfect.
again hysterical joke end credit scene
Yeah, the
where
end credit scene
Deadpool's
was
like,
perfect.
I'm tired of people saying that I got him killed. Fucking plays the
I'm
receipts. I'm like, gotcha, bitch.
I'm so glad that Marvel has gone back to, at least for this movie, gone back to look. We don't need to show a sneak peek of the next movie in the end credit scene
Yeah,
because when you look at the old end credit scenes, the Avengers, like I think there was a
Iron Man
segue
3.
into something. Iron Man 3. They went
Yeah.
to fucking shawarma. Great shawarma joke in the movie, by the way. Deadpool
Yep.
shawarma.
Yep.
Great shawarma joke.
You
But
know the Avengers who
they ate
discovered
shawarma.
shawarma? Like the end of Iron Man
But it
3 is
was.
Iron Man talking to Bruce Banner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm out of line saying this is the funniest movie in the MCU. You know, I think you could argue. You know,
Yeah, I don't really see the competitor. I mean, I guess Ragnarok,
yeah.
but I mean, even that movie was more
That's the only one I could think of, and even I still think that I think I laughed more in Deadpool Wolverine than I did in
just
Ragnarok. You know,
dying, man. It's so
mm-hmm.
good.
I think this is the
Like,
funniest
he
movie in the
has risen,
MCU.
baby.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, this movie, as a movie, was not. It was just a solid movie, solid
Yeah,
writing. You know, it wasn't over the top, but I do think I I don't normally do this where I'm like giving excuses for a movie. Like, um, we'll talk about Twister, but and I won't give excuses for that movie. Yeah, it's 30 years apart, but we're ranking the movie, not the year of the movie. You know.
yeah,
So I'm not going to give excuses for that. This movie I will give excuses for because this movie is phenomenal when you factor in the writer's strike. This
yeah,
movie was in the middle, start, finish, writer's strike, start to finish. Like, this movie didn't like, okay, writer's strike's over, now we can continue. No,
yeah.
the movie was in the middle of the writer's strike, and this was the best movie we have. I think you could say the best movie since No Way Home. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was good too. I mean, there's some good ones, but you could argue, at least you could have an argument that this is the best movie since No Way Home. You could even
Yeah.
say best. You could even argue you like the movie, the best movie you like since Endgame. You know, I don't think it's better than No Way Home, but the feel good and the entertainment value I liked more than No Way Home, just because it
Yeah,
was
I enjoyed it.
constant.
Yeah,
Second half of No Way Home beats this movie, obviously,
it's kind of a gift.
but
This movie's kind of a gift to the
yeah,
fans.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's
I
kind of
think you have to acknowledge how many obstacles this movie had to face for it to be as good as it actually is.
yeah.
But
So I
great
told
movie, great
Ben.
movie.
So again, we're ranking the X-Men movies next week. Me and Ben. I alluded to Ben before this that I finished watching The Wolverine today, so I'm not fully caught up on my X-Men rewatch, and I want to be really fresh on, of course, obviously the Deadpool movies at the very least, but I'm gonna watch the rest of them this week, and I don't know where I'd put it. Um, among the three Deadpool movies, it's probably going to be high up in my X-Men ranking, but
Mhm.
I was I will say I was nervous going into this because of how much I liked Logan, and I was worried what they were going to do, and I think I'm I was very very happy with what they got with what they put out. I thought I was laughing the whole time. The movie's just designed to make you smile. Um,
Yeah.
and if you're a the bigger comic book movie fan you are, the more things are in here to make you smile. It's
Hmm.
also kind of refreshing to get like they kind of say we're having a course correction in this movie that we're gonna chill with the multiverse stuff. Um, and they've said that they're gonna step back and rethink again, do less things. We got Deadpool this year, and I think that's the only movie we're getting this year from Marvel. We've got Captain America: Brave New World. I don't know when Agatha's show is coming out. I'm not super excited for it,
I think it's
but
Halloween this year.
yeah. And
I think so.
I'm a little more optimistic about Marvel now that we're getting this. Not necessarily. I don't want to like listen to a thing about Star. Ben's gone, so I can talk about Star Wars all I want. People were talking about the Acolyte to me. I haven't seen it, but I'm not going to. And even before the Acolyte came out, I was not really watching Star Wars things because I was so burned out on it. That's not how I
I
feel about
watched it because
Marvel
I
at
had
all.
nothing else to watch. It's terrible.
I do not feel that way at all about Marvel, and I feel like it's redeemable, and I feel like we're coming back with Marvel. Star Wars, I think, will. I saw Andor and I loved it, but I don't see any reason to watch anything Star. Especially, let me put it this way: Star Wars isn't even putting out movies at this point,
Yeah.
so it's gonna take a lot to win me back on Star Wars, especially if to be caught up, I'm gonna have to watch all the what my friends have said is garbage from yeah, I'm not interested.
Well, the
But
acolyte,
Marvel, I think, is moving in a good direction.
They have
What's that?
pronouns of the acolyte. So yeah,
Good for them, man.
they said, "Oh, this is word for word. All right, this is what they fucking said." They said, "Is he or they coming with us?" Word for word.
I saw
What are we
one
doing?
episode of that. I actually did see episode 3, and I was just looking at it as like, yeah, this acting is kind of bland. These sets look fake as hell. And I'm like bored. And then like I'm talking to our friend Mr. 10410, like, hey, watch the show. Hey, like this is happening. I was like, yeah, God forbid I miss any of this. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's our thoughts on Deadpool. We'll talk about it more next week and the week after, actually.
Uh,
But
so Deadpool ranking individually for me. I think we do an individual ranking, and then
sure,
we'll do an X Men ranking when we do the X Men one.
yeah,
But for
sure. You want to do
me,
that right now?
yeah, for me, I spoiled my ranking, but I thought it was better than two, but not as good as one. I think Deadpool one is such an underrated movie. I think it's a damn near perfect movie. It has no business being that good. It was funny. The plot was good. The writing was great, and it was just action was good too, and it was original. Um, I have Deadpool at number one. Deadpool Wolverine was better than Deadpool 2 for me because of its originality. I thought Deadpool 2 was very similar to Deadpool 1, trying to be another movie of Deadpool 1, but just funnier. And I thought the story was just okay. Um, but like they're great movies. Like there's not a bad movie you can watch. I still rewatch Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 to this day multiple
Yeah,
times
same.
because
Yeah,
they're great
exactly. Yeah,
movies.
I've
Yeah,
several, and I'm happy to do it
but
again.
for me, Deadpool 2, and as soon as Deadpool Wolverine comes out, I am watching that 5 times. Like I'm gonna keep watching that, you know. But
Yeah,
for me, Deadpool 2 was not as original as Deadpool 1 and Deadpool Wolverine. And I enjoyed Deadpool Wolverine probably the most out of any Deadpool. But I think Deadpool first one is a better movie as a whole. It's You couldn't have done anything better in Deadpool 1. There's some things you could have done better. There's some things you added that didn't really make sense in Deadpool 2. And obviously the writing in Deadpool 3 for me was like it was good, just not great, but we know why. So
yeah,
for me, Deadpool 1, Deadpool 3, Deadpool 2.
yeah. I think I'd have in last place I'd have Deadpool 3. And again, we talked about this. We love all the Deadpool movies just because that story is very thin. It's very
Mm-hmm.
funny. It's still very funny. We get all those cameos. We get lots of smart stuff, but just a really thin. I probably couldn't tell you the full plot of the story of what actually happened. Um,
Yeah.
and again, it's not designed for you to be able to do that. Like it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, where it's like, could you tell me what happened in Guardians of the Galaxy? And I was like, probably not. Having seen it like 20 times, I still probably couldn't tell you what happened because it's about the character moments. But Deadpool 3 is about all this thing in between, and it's not really about the story. And then in second place, I'd have Deadpool. Actually, this is good because I can kind of give my definitive case here for why I think Deadpool 1 is better than Deadpool 2. Um, Deadpool 2 is good. I think Deadpool 2 got fucked by Fox in that they said, "Hey, Deadpool just came out. It's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, except for Passion of the Christ or whatever it was. But like overseas, they beat it, and they're like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We want Deadpool 2 in 2 years. It's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
fuck, because a movie comes out around a year after it finishes filming, then you have to do marketing. So you have 1 year to write
Yeah.
and cast and film then do like photography on Deadpool 2. And you can feel that in the movie. You can. It's all funny. Again, it's all really funny. And what probably bumps Deadpool 2 up over 3 for me is that the sense of humor is very up my alley. It's much more my
Mm-hmm.
sense of humor in the second Deadpool movie. And like the joke that comes to mind is Cable kills a prisoner behind Deadpool, and Deadpool goes, "You killed Black Tom, you racist son of a bitch." Um, again, so really, it's really funny for me. But you can feel that there's a lot going on. None of it, again, none of it is a bad idea, but there's just too
No.
much. Like you have a
Yeah.
movie about Vanessa dying. You also have a movie about a orphanage that tortures mutants. Oh, okay. How are we going to do it? It's also a movie about Cable coming back in time to get revenge on Russell. Okay. Now there's a prison for mutants. Okay. How are we going to do all that? Oh, and also we're doing a movie where Deadpool makes X Force. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
again, all these are all good ideas. These are all really good ideas, but they're all in one movie, and we don't really get enough time with each of them to like. I don't care as much about Deadpool and Russell's relationship as I should. I
Yeah.
don't care as much
Yeah.
about Cable as I should. I don't really. I care about X Force as much as the movie wants me to.
Yeah.
But I think it says a lot when the most powerful moment of the movie is Deadpool being able to cross over to be with Vanessa for that short sequence. That like is the most emotional moment of the movie, which was
And
developed in the
and
previous
that
movie.
yeah. And that
Not
was
to take
set
away,
up, yeah, like you
yeah,
said, it was set up in
yeah,
Deadpool 1, yeah.
yeah. Not to take away from Deadpool 2, because like they still had to shoot it and act it and get the right music, and it's a very well done scene. But when the best scene in your movie was mostly developed in a previous movie, I think that says a lot about your story.
Mm-hmm.
And Deadpool 1, listen, okay?
It was like it had no business being that perfect. I'm sorry. I'm
Deadpool 1
sorry.
gets a lot of help from the fact that so many of these superhero movies are like sky beams and the world's gonna blow up and aliens are invading everywhere. And in particular, in the Fox X-Men universe, where you have movies like X-Men Apocalypse that come
That
out that are
oh
really,
yeah.
really bad.
Yeah,
So
X Men
when
Apocalypse was terrible.
yeah, when I'm getting a lot of movies like where the world is ending and a lot of bad movies where the world is ending, if you're gonna give me a really tight, well-rounded story that's just about classic characters and a guy who loves a girl and is dying and does something crazy and has to find his way back. That's the whole movie. It's really simple, but it's also really tight. You get some nonlinear storytelling, and oh, by the way, we now have fourth wall breaking that totally fits within the movie. And it's an interesting balance they walk because the fourth wall is shattered in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
destroyed, but it finds a way to tell it from the character's perspective. It's not Ryan Reynolds talking to the camera, it's Deadpool talking to the camera. So you can kind of, it almost pulls you more into him, knowing that he's a character who knows he's in a movie, but he's still going on this journey in some way. Um, yeah, I think it builds out that relationship really well. I'm a huge fan of Colossus. We get the most of him. I think we get his best work in this
Mm-hmm.
movie. Um, and yeah, it's just classic. It's small, it's tight, it's a really sweet story, and it's also a great underdog story for a movie that really shouldn't have happened. If you know like the backstory of how this movie got made, so I think I'd have Deadpool 1 in first, then 2, then 3. But if you're gonna give me a movie marathon, I can think of way worse than to go through all the Deadpools because
Oh yeah,
I would
I
happily, but
think
I'd plan that seven
yeah,
hour day with you.
I think we could easily agree that 2 and 3 could be interchangeable depending on
Yeah,
your preference.
Mhm.
But like we said, Deadpool's got no business being as perfect and as great of a movie as it
Yeah,
actually is. It should not. But
it's
yeah,
really something
all
special.
three. I would love. I would do multiple marathons of the Deadpool movies, like just for fun. Like those are great movies. Great
They're
movies.
so good, man.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna move on to Twister and Twisters,
Yep.
starring Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell.
We have so many
I
Glenn
should.
Powell movies that we should have talked about already that Ben hasn't seen, so that's why I'm doing it. And it's all Ben's fault.
It's my
So
fault.
I actually saw in preparation for this, I saw the original Twister on a plane on my way back. And wow, that's a fun movie. Really fun
Yeah.
movie. Really silly movie. Like with
Mm-hmm.
a tornado and like cows flying through the air in the middle of the tornado
Yeah. You could tell
and
this
moving.
movie was 30 something years old.
Yeah, some of the effect and I was tracking on with most of the effects, but the one effect that is a little weird is when at the end where like all the like the sensors come up out of the barrel and like fly into the tornado. Like, okay, that looks fucking weird. That
Yeah.
doesn't look right.
Yeah. There was things for me. Uh, First off, I like both movies. I thought both movies were good.
I do too. Yeah,
I enjoyed watching both movies. I was very surprised with the first Twister because I was last time I saw it was middle school. I didn't remember much of it, but I was like, this is actually like I kind of want to keep watching this movie. Like I don't want to like when we were watching Mad Max, a couple moments in Mad Max where I was just like, all right, can I just get to Fury Road already? But
no kidding.
and I know you can attest to that because there was definitely a lot of parts with
It
that.
took me
But
like 4 weeks to get through them.
but no, Twister I didn't have a problem with watching, and Twisters I enjoyed very well, or I enjoyed a lot, and the new one, there is a huge jump in CGI. Obviously,
Yeah,
this is over 30 years apart. Huge jump. Um, this was kind of I was surprised at how hard it was to rank them one and two because I went back and forth because I thought that the story in one was great. You know, it's very
definitely
like
better. Yeah,
direct. It's very direct. This is what I want to do. This is what we're trying to do. And I'm trying
and
to
this
do
is
it
why.
because I
Yeah,
got into tornadoes because my dad died from a tornado, and it's a problem. We don't know how to uh, tell when they're coming, and if we can figure it out and understand it, we can tell when they're coming. And the second one, was kind of a little bit too crazy for me. It was a lot of
It
things
was pretty great,
happening.
yeah.
And what I liked about the first one too, about the story, is look, there is a pure like, this guy is bad. He is trying to benefit himself and not everybody else. Which storm chasers need to. They chase storms to help people. This guy's doing it just for the glory, the fame.
Yeah.
In the first Twister, and it was very
Carrie
like,
Elway, by
okay,
the way.
he's bad, she's good, he's good, they're formerly in love, but we all know that they love storms and chasing tornadoes, and understand it. So it's very simple, very easy to understand. Second one, three people died in the opening scene. I was like, what? I didn't understand. There was a couple times where it was like, okay, three people died. Like, you're the only one to survive that actually was in that car, and it took you like that. It took you to say, hey, we just need your help. All right, look, I'll come down for a week. Like, it was very like pushed along. But I think
Yeah.
where the first Twister lacked, the second Twister or Twisters also, like CGI.
They
The
complement each other really
actors,
well.
it was, yeah. I think if you put two movies together, first story, today's CGI, action, everything, I think we have a hell of a movie.
Yeah.
But
I think it's
it was
cool that, yeah.
it's very hard for me to rank them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool for me that the second one, that you can see the second one without seeing the first one, but if you have seen the first one, that there's little references in there for
There's
you
yeah.
that you like. I saw, by the way, saw the first
Mm-hmm.
one on the plane, and I was like, I got to the point, I was like, is that Carrie Elway's in this movie?
Yeah.
What is he doing? What is Wesley from A Princess Bride doing in this movie? And he
Yeah.
is so funny. He is so
Mm-hmm.
obnoxious and ridiculous, and just like, I really enjoy your weather broadcasts, and just saying just the most ridiculous, over the top bullshit, and it's just a total hack. Just like, doesn't know anything about storms, follows like the
Yeah.
girl to where the storms are, just ridiculous. Um, but yeah, I enjoy the first Twister a lot. I think I would edge it to the second Twisters for a couple of
Mm-hmm.
reasons. One, I like that we get a little more backstory into the main characters, kind of why they're not chasing storms anymore. All my three of my friends died horrible, horrible deaths in a tornado.
Yeah.
I think I'll work in this. That's a pretty fair reason. Now, I agree with
Yeah.
you that it shouldn't be so easy as to say, yeah, well, other people might get hurt. Okay, fine, I'll come out. It should have
Yeah.
mean a little more than that, but I also Glenn Powell, man, he really hits every note of the guy who's so just clearly an influencer and just obnoxious
Mm-hmm.
and like, hey, what are you doing? The tornado's that way. Hi, Kate, and just keep
Yeah.
going. So, and also plays the guy like he's a good guy, but he's even though he's a good guy who's like trying to find the dog, he's also giving her mom like one of his T-shirts. So is like, doesn't want his car to get towed, so just drills it in the ground. Just so funny. I
Yeah.
also like that, unlike, and again, the first one's really good too. I like that in this second movie, uh, we kind of, I don't want to say respect, but in a little way, kind of respect the tornadoes a little more, and that like on
Mm-hmm.
some level we are like chasing these things and we're having fun a little bit, but on another level, if shit goes sideways, shit really goes fucking sideways, and people get
Yeah.
sucked up and people die and towns get wrecked. And then we have
Mm-hmm.
people who are buying land in Oklahoma because they know tornadoes wreck shit and they're trying to take advantage of people, which is awful.
Yeah.
So I like that, and it makes me feel the stakes a little bit more, and it makes me care a little bit more about why we're doing this. So it's like, why are we chasing these storms
Mm-hmm.
apart from just to dick around? I was like, well, because if we have a way to, in this movie, as silly as the idea of stopping a tornado is, if we
Yeah.
can stop these tornadoes, then we'll have less of these towns that get completely wrecked. We'll have people not getting sucked up into the fucking air. We might have people who don't need to get food from a YouTube crew. By the way, I don't. I want to get my phone because I want to look up her name. This The second Twisters has an actress that I'm a big fan of. I haven't seen her in a
Is
ton of things, but she
Are you
is
talking about her? Is she's in Quantumania? Is that the one?
maybe. Yes, I think so. I'm a
Did she have
big
short hair in this movie or
yep,
something?
Katie M. O'Brien. She is
She's in Quantumania.
yeah, she is.
Yeah.
And she was in this movie and again another layer to her of another like part of the fun crew who's like, "What are you doing? You cut me off." Um Again, a very fun character. I'm excited to see more of her. I'm very happy that Glenn Powell, after being in Top Gun Maverick, fantastic movie. Again,
Yeah.
I have to watch Anyone But You. I have to watch Hitman. I have movies of his
Both great movies.
that I need to check out, but I'm a big fan of his. I thought he was fantastic in this movie. I thought he was perfectly obnoxious. Top
Everything
Gun
that he's
Maverick.
been in, I have liked. There's not
Yeah,
been a single role that he's had that I've been like, okay, he like. There's a couple roles like The Rock where you're like, okay, if you could, there's better options, you know.
yeah,
But Glenn Powell, I was like, I don't know if like obviously some people probably could have done a better job just because like Leonardo DiCaprio is like one of the best actors in the world.
yeah.
Like names like that
But you
could
can't
come to
cast him
mind,
for everything. Yeah,
but I can't. Yeah, you can't do that. So there was never a thought in my mind that said, okay, we should have had someone else. And there's been thoughts for other actors. I think for me, I think I might barely give the edge to the first one, just because of the story, and there wasn't really like moments in the second one that I was like, ooh, like they died. It's really sad. There's kind
yeah,
of like it in the first one. The backstory is only for Helen Hunt's character, and I think I would have gave the edge to the second one. I was a little disappointed that they didn't bring back anybody from the first one.
you want them to bring someone
Um,
back?
like just like a last second, like or a last like cameo, like end of the movie. Like the movie is the movie, you know, but kind of a feel good. Like Helen Hunt also comes out of
Yeah,
nowhere and like helps her figure it out or something like that. You have a like at the beginning of the movie, it was like Glenn Powell was the bad guy.
yeah,
But I also don't understand why the people were the actual bad crew and that they were like buying land and stuff like that. I don't understand why they had so much hate towards Glenn Powell and his YouTube
if that's what they're
friends.
doing.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like why are they like, oh yeah, he doesn't chase. He does it for the thrill. He's bad. Like,
yeah,
all right, why? I don't understand why. At first, we're thinking like, yeah, he's the bad guy, and then we realize, oh yeah, he's all the profits he makes, they're giving to people and helping people. Then
yeah.
why are you
Like
saying he's bad at the beginning?
yeah, it wasn't
I
very
just
like
yeah
honestly, it kind of to be brutally honest, it kind of came across as like our guy who survived just got friend zoned a little bit. But the
yeah
I think that might have been a little bit of what was going on. But yeah, maybe you could,
yeah.
I was gonna say Philip Seymour Hoffman, but he's dead. Um,
I
another
know.
yeah,
It's
but
yeah
again another great actor who like again I loved it. I was like, I know who that is. I can't believe
yeah
he's in this
yeah.
movie.
But I think if we would have gotten one or two, Helen Hunt's the big one, obviously.
Yeah,
But if we got somebody, a feel good cameo out of nowhere, I would have been excited. I would have felt better about this movie because this. You're 100% right. You could have seen this movie without seeing the first movie. There was a couple nods to the first one, but there wasn't a lot. There really
like
wasn't
with
a lot.
Dorothy and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I did notice Dorothy, but other than
And they
that,
named
I
like
mean, there
their like
was
censors Scarecrow and Tin Man and Lion and that
yeah.
kind of thing.
I mean, there wasn't really too much that I was like, oh my god, like feel
Yeah,
good for the audience. And I think if they would have brought some people back that they set up in the movie previous for big moments, it would have felt better. Because there was no one in this movie that died that I was like, oh my god, Like, I can't believe that just happened. The beginning of the movie, like her friends and her boyfriend died, and I was like, well, I don't know who they are. Like, all right, they got swept
Yeah,
up by a
that's true.
tornado,
I
you
like
know.
like I enjoy. Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, it doesn't really have
So
that
it,
punch.
yeah,
It only really
it
serves to kind of
just,
set
yeah,
up like where she's at.
it just for me, even the villain dying in the first one, like they were trying to help. They were trying to help him, even though he
Yeah,
was like against him the entire movie, and he still didn't
yeah,
listen to them. And then he died, and I was like, oh, you should have listened to him, but you got what you deserved, you know.
yeah. You got what
It
you
really
asked
was
for,
that
but
emotional hit, you know, and
yeah,
yeah, it was just it was slight nod to the first one just because of the story. I think the CGI wasn't as bad as it could have been. Um, so I didn't have. I was able to look past it. I don't know why.
yeah,
I just yeah, but I mean the cows. Like if you mention the cows, they'll be like, "Yeah, it's silly," you know.
yeah.
But
This isn't like
but
a Martin
yeah.
Scorsese. Like this isn't a movie for me and Ben. Like movies, and we'll go and see. And like we've seen, we talked about Planet of the Apes earlier, which is like a great piece
Mm-hmm.
of like cinema that we go to and enjoy a lot. Uh, and we appreciate the story and how a lot of things are structured. This is very much a summer movie. This is you grab your friends, you're like, we're gonna go have fun and we're gonna go watch Twisters.
Yeah.
Like this is
Yeah.
that's what this movie is.
Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed both. I enjoyed watching both.
Yeah,
Both were good, but and I think one and two could be interchangeable depending on what you like. If you're more of an action guy, which I was surprised by, I've been more of an action guy, you know. But CGI wasn't as bad as it could have been, and I was able to look past it. And I just enjoyed the first one because it was simpler, easier to follow, and easier to connect to characters. Because I couldn't really connect to Glenn Powell or any of the other characters until I found out they weren't actually bad, you know. And then at that
yeah,
point in the movie, none of them died, so I was just like, oh, they almost died, but luckily she saved them. And
yeah.
it was, you
You
know, it
definitely
was
feel
just,
it. I mean, like at the end, where like they're
yeah.
hiding in the
Now,
funny because they're the face off the cinema.
yeah, if
Yeah,
one of them died, I would have been like, oh no, like
yeah,
that character that was like he was holding on to her. Like if
yeah.
she ended up getting sucked out, I would have been like, okay, but no one
I was
important.
scared.
Yeah,
I
no
was
one
definitely
important
scared.
that
I was like, no,
yeah,
Jack.
no one important that I connected to actually died or anything. So it
Yeah,
was the emotional, the gut wrenching punch. There was a couple in the first Twister, but there was none really Twisters. But I think
yeah.
both were great. But I would have Twister ahead of Twisters.
I
So
think I would
just
edge
slightly
Twisters,
though.
but again, this is another one. Was like, throw this on a movie marathon. We're gonna have a Twisters day. I was like, why not? I'm more than happy
Yeah,
to come watch these. And like, listen,
I would watch both of them again.
I'm not just saying this is a big compliment. Like if Ben is like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch all of Mad Max," I'd be like, "I'm busy. I'm not.
Yeah, I
I'm
would watch
not
Fury Road and
interested."
Furiosa, but
Here
not
we are.
yeah
Um,
Furiosa.
they made a joke about Furiosa and Deadpool.
I know. I was like, yes. But
Like
Haley
this is a
hasn't
little
seen
Mad Maxy,
Furiosa.
but isn't
She's
that
yeah.
copyrighted?
She didn't understand or she didn't get it. But I was like, Furiosa. And it was just so funny. I was like, is this really happening right now? Oh my god.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it was pretty. So okay, so next week I'm streamlining. We have some in the back channels. I'm gonna edit this one first to get it out because that's what everyone wants to see. Also, that
Mm-hmm.
Bad Boys review is fucked, and like something happened where like it broke in the middle, and it's like not going. It's point being, it's hard to edit, and I'm working on it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little upset too because Ben was really off the rails in that one. And it was funny,
That was a
but
good episode.
that it's gonna happen. It's gonna come out. It's just hard, and it's taking a while to edit. But this one
Yeah.
will come out first. And then next week we have our X-Men ranking, rank all the movies. And then the week
Oh
after
yeah.
that, you might think me and Ben are going to fight in the X-Men rankings. We're going to fight, but not in that video. Because after that, we're going to make ourselves a nice tournament bracket. I think we'll average mine and Ben's rankings to find out the
Oh
seedings.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I have a couple fun ideas of what to do with that until we decide what is the very best X-Men movie. Ben's going to be wrong.
I think I already know mine, but Yeah.
I thought I did too. It might
I
still
think we're
be,
thinking of the same movie. Yeah.
but I saw one recently that I was like, "Fuck, that movie's good," and that might, and I'm
Yeah.
tempted to put it in the top spot. And I think I might do it just to piss you off, but I might go there.
But yeah.
All right, very
Bye
attractive
bye.
man.